Good morning, world, and welcome to the Awesome Game Box Vlogs. I'm still in bed, don't mind me, but today we're gonna be going on a ghost adventure. Yup, you heard it here, folks. We're gonna go check out the Charles Dickens Mirror, and apparently I'm staying in the most haunted hotel in Boston, so... Ooh, I'm still a little tired, so I'm probably gonna sleep in a little bit more. A little bit. And then we'll probably go see the Charles Dickens Mirror. We're probably gonna go check out 7th floor, 3rd floor, and room 303, where a drunk man supposedly killed himself with the antidepressant pills and mixed it with whiskey. And I'm gonna go ask some of the staff members if they can give me some little inside stories on their little point of view of the hotel. So I'm gonna sleep in a little more, and I'll get right back to you guys in a moment. There we go. That totally works a lot better. Good job, me. Okay, so I'm ready to head out. And I'm also gonna need to get some food later, because, your boy's hungry. And let me also grab the battery. So let me run over a couple of things for a moment. I don't know if because there's some other things that are like really haunting about this place. So let's start with room 303. So a man supposedly had murdered himself in there with whiskey and mixing some antidepressant pills, and so he died. And what happened next was they turned that room that man slept in and turned it into a storage room, which I'm going to check out on the 3rd floor, and that'll be fun. And there's a mirror down in the main lobby, or what I call the lobby, and there is a mirror there that is about Charles Dickens, and if you say his name 3 times, then something weird happens. I don't know. I'll probably do one on camera, and if nothing happens, I'll do it off camera and tell you guys what happened next. And I'm sure I'm missing some other things. There's like a graveyard somewhere over there as well. Like, I've heard, and I'm gonna go ask some staff members if they would like to share some stories. And we'll see where we go from there. But yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today, and there's something about the 7th floor. I'll probably put it right here, and you guys can pause the video and look at it. But, you've heard stories?
Yeah, so downstairs in the basement, there's been like a couple like reported hauntings. I know one of our other hostesses that works up here was downstairs changing in our locker room, and the hand dryers kept turning on. And in order to turn the hand dryers on, you have to push. It's not like you stick your hand under it, you have to like push it to turn it on, and no one else was down there. So that was a little spooky. I know a lot of people like to go up to the 3rd floor. There's a room that was inspired by, Stephen King was inspired by The Room. I would assume that a guest either killed someone else.
I read
and
that
it was
up.
then haunted, yeah.
Room 303, right?
Room 303,
Yes, it
exactly.
is.
It was turned into a storage closet.
Yeah.
But, you can still hear footsteps. I haven't heard anyone that's seen anything.
But
it's mostly hearing stuff.
But
yeah.
no, I heard that these children said they seen 2 adults go into
they saw 2 people that weren't from
And
the
then-
hotel enter the room, and in order to go in that room you need access, so they thought that could be something paranormal or something related to it. I know Charles Dickens stayed at the hotel. Upstairs in the mezzanine level is the mirror that was in his room where he reportedly practiced A Christmas Carol. So he stayed at the hotel while he was writing that, and he would perform it sometimes in the lobby, which is pretty cool. The elevators like to stop on the 3rd floor a lot, even though nobody pushes the button to make the elevator stop at the 3rd floor, so they'll just all go up and open on that floor. The 10th floor is reportedly haunted, but it's only hearing stuff. Again, I haven't heard anybody that's seen anything except those 2 kids that saw something in room 303. and I personally haven't experienced anything yet, but a lot of the older people that are at the hotel that have worked here for like 30 something years, they should have good stories because they just have more time being here. Anyone that's worked an overnight probably has a good story. You might want to ask the bellmen that are on duty. They've been here for a long time, so they might be able to tell you something. They're usually over in that corner by the elevators.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. That's really all I've heard. The Kennedys have a long history with the hotel. Malcolm X worked here. Ho Chi Minh worked here. I'm trying to think other history stuff here and haunting stuff. I don't know. A lot of people think that it's the owner, Harvey Parker. A lot of people think it's him. Well, the old owner from 1850.
Oh,
There's a
cool.
picture of him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. A lot of people think it's him that's like just walking around the hotel checking on stuff. The building was incredibly old. It hasn't really been renovated. The only renovation we had was in like the 1920s, and it was just to build an addition. So there's a lot of like history here. But yeah, if you're looking around, definitely try like the 3rd floor, the 10th floor, the 2nd floor. Those are like the 3 most reported that I've heard of like ghost activity. Unfortunately, we can't get you downstairs in the basement. That's employees only.
Right.
For that story.
Obviously.
But yeah, those 3 levels are definitely what I hear the most. It's always like footsteps, scratching, voices, typical stuff. But
Okay.
yeah, I haven't seen anything. I wish I have. I asked everyone that works there. I'm like, have you seen anything? Like, what's the sitch with the ghosts? Because I know this place is haunted. It's so old. But yeah, definitely go ask the bellman. Their names are Dan and George. George is directly across. He's super nice. I'm sure he has a story or knows somebody that does.
All right.
The other one that's right with Stan. The other part with like Aaron.
Thank you so much.
I like the bellman. My friend was on that stuff.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Okay, so quick update. I was the 20th. It's like all the way down here. So the elevator like suddenly buzzed, and the guy right next to me was like, "Oh, I think the ghosts are trying to tell us something." I was like, "Oh, maybe so, maybe so." So it's a storage room. 303. But I don't think that's it. I don't know what to do here. There's nothing to do. I don't know. I don't have any ghosty ghouly stuff. Oh my gosh. That's insane. Ooh. I think I'm gonna go to the mezzanine hall. Or, I don't know how to pronounce stuff, but go down there, check stuff out. It was crazy. I, like, heard some banging up on the roof. Somebody's either having a good time or ghosts are trying to tell me stuff. Also, like, when I was getting on the elevator earlier, that one, like, literally, like, once I pressed the button, that one literally went off. Oh, hi. I think this is mirror from rooms of Parker House, occupied by Charles Dickens. Ooh. Please use lobby mailbox. I wonder if the camera's not gonna focus any of it. There's another one in the lobby that has the dude. Wow. That's cool. Charles Dickens, Charles Dickens, Charles Dickens. I don't know if you're supposed to say it loudly, but I'm gonna ask some other people. So I tried it by myself. Alright, I'm gonna try doing it by myself off camera. Oh, let's not put on the flash. Okay, so quick update. So, let's start with the 3rd floor. I heard something on it, and I was like, what? either that or, you know, someone's having a good time. I think I need to go eat. And I think another thing that I need to gloss over is I did not show the film from the 10th floor because I looked over the video and it was like not, you know, it wasn't very good. It wasn't very fun. Nothing really happened on the 10th floor. So I don't know what to tell you guys. There was really nothing. Sorry to disappoint. Okay, cool. Alright. Don't think anyone needs to. Is anyone here? If anyone is here with me now, please give me a sign. What the fuck? The mirror kind of fogged up here. I don't know if you can see that, but I don't. Is it like so warm in here that it just. Or like cold? I don't. What the hell? How'd that happen? That doesn't make any sense. I don't, because this mirror isn't fogged up, but then this one, why is this fogged up? Let me take some pictures, hold on. Oh my god, okay, so I was taking pictures, and I haven't looked back at the photo yet. I only took like one picture before I freaked out. So I put this down, because there was like a little opening here, and I didn't want to glare to like, you know, come off of the mirror. And, so, then a white thing literally just passed by. I don't know if it was a speck of dust. I didn't get a chance to record it. It was just there, and I was like, what the hell? And I was like, oh, wow. So, I'm gonna, so yeah, that's great. I'm just gonna, oh, well, there we go, flash is on. Huh, yep, there it is. I don't know what that is. I've never recorded with, you know, flash on, so that's probably the mirror. Probably what I did see. I wrote hello up here, and I don't know if they're gonna reply or anything, but we will check back later. That is a speck of dust, just so you know. But we will check back later. I'm gonna go eat, so let's eat. I'm hungry. Hungrily hunting. I need to go. I'm so sorry. Okay, just got back. Got my sushi and my froyo. Damn it, the light's still on. Okay, so hello is still up here, and nothing else is still written on the wall. Sorry, mirror, not wall. But this is starting to fog up. But I feel like it's just because it's getting really humid in here, because the AC was off and I was trying to turn it off so I can talk to people. But yeah, that's what I got. If only it would like not. Ooh, okay, it almost did right there. I was gonna say if it was gonna blur a little bit, that would have been very helpful on this journey. But yeah. I think I'm gonna eat and chill for a bit and then go back out. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Googly 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 goo. Tell them what happened. What's the deal?
This says that the first witch was actually hung here in Boston Commons, which is right just down walking distance from here. A witch watcher claimed he saw a child run from her arms and disappear into thin air. That was the witch. He said, so she was hung on the gallows tree in Boston Common in 1648. The only artifact remaining of the original hanging tree and the gallows is a small plaque near the park's frog pond. Woo!
Wow. I forgot the flash is still on. Oh my. You ready for the ghost tour, Ma?
The whole
Alright, except for the fact that it is a Friday night, guys. Let's pretend like you heard the words that are coming out of my mouth. I said a real loud round of applause! There we go. That was awesome, considering you have no idea why the hell you're clapping. You just did it because the bleeding guy told you to, which is exactly how cults get started. Now, the reason why you are clapping in this case, guys, is that $5 of every single ticket that you bought. Turn it on silent. You can't take pictures of us if you would like.
Flash off
Great.
this time? Whee! Man, I love being haunted by strangers. Wee, 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 wee. Are you excited, Ma?
No, it's too spooky.
You're not excited, Ma? Goodbye, world.
Perfect. A trolley full of victims. Yeah. Some gravestones. Suckers.
Oh, nice. I love being a
My
sucker.
name is Jonathan Percival Goodspeed, and I will be your mortician for the evening.
Ooh.
You see, it was once my job to prepare the bodies of Boston's dead for their final journey off to the burial grounds. Naturally, I was very good at this. Well, you see, that's not where the real money came from. The real money was to be found not so much in preparing the bodies as in selling them. See, the doctors, they needed
Undertaker.
corpses to practice on, and at the time, people weren't exactly prepared to donate their bodies. In my case, finding a dead body wasn't quite that difficult. Just open up the back door and have a look around the old inventory. See, that's one of the good things about working in the death industry. No shortage of clients. No one gets out of this life alive, and eventually all of you wind up on a table like mine. Not everyone makes it to the graveyard. None of my clients did. They all went to the doctors. Made a pretty penny off of them, and as a little side benefit, the doctors got good enough at their job that people were living longer, and thanks to me, there was a noticeable decline in the death rates. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Of course, when you work in the death industry, a decline in the death rate is usually followed by an equal decline in your profit margins. And we can't be having that now, can we? 11 victims, I was caught, and one thing led to another, and then, well, let's just say mob justice isn't pretty. Well, once I managed to pull myself back together from that, I realized something rather unfortunate. I might not have had a pulse, but I wasn't dead. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look out of your windows, you will see we are driving down Historic State Street, one of the oldest streets in Boston, and of course the home of the old State House, which is of course the oldest public building in the United States of America. Waste not, right? Now, we're about to be making our way towards the oldest graveyard in all of Boston. But there's something you should know about these graveyards before you go in. Not everyone arrived at the graveyards on schedule. And I'm not talking about the ones that got there late. Are any of you afraid of being buried alive? I'm very concerned about the ones who said no. Imagine it, if you will, waking up from the deepest sleep you've ever known to nothing but blackness. You take a deep breath, but the air is stale and musty. You raise your hand before your face, but mere inches from your nose it stops, having encountered a wall of damp and splintery wood. Suddenly you realize, no matter how loudly you scream, no matter how fiercely you pound, no one is going to hear from you again. This was the grim reality faced by 1 in 1,000 people who died between the 16 and 1800s, otherwise known as the timeline of all the historic burial grounds we'll be visiting tonight.
Ooh.
1 in every 1,000 people was buried alive. We know this because we found them. Sadly, none of them were found in time, seeing as they were found by archaeologists. The skeletons inside the coffin do not rest in peace. Instead, the bones are twisted and broken, writhing about inside of the box. The finger bone snapped from pounding away at the inside of coffin lids. The jawbone sitting on the chest, unhinged from screaming. Of course, the telltale signs of scratch marks on the inside of the coffin lid, sometimes with the fingernails still embedded in the wood.
Nice.
King's Chapel Burial Ground, the oldest graveyard in Boston. Home to just under 1,000 headstones. And just over 3,400 bodies. You do the math. And also follow me.
Was the place where it's like, it's right across from our old hotel that we were staying at just a couple of, well, just today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was where Omni Hotel, and then that's the graveyard over there. Oh, sorry. Why can I not read that? It says, protect our heritage. Please remain on the walkway. Please refrain from grave rubbing. Parks Department assistance is available if you wish to visit a specific marker. That's what that says, but I cannot read it on the phone. So. Yeah.
Hemisphere, fourth in the world, beaten by Budapest, London, and Glasgow.
Oh, not Glasgow.
I know, the Glaswegians beat us to it. And yes, that is actually what you call people from Glasgow. Glaswegians. I didn't invent it. Well, because this was still a relatively new technology, we hadn't quite figured out that trains produce these lovely things called greenhouse gases, which are rather toxic when you breathe them in. Now, normally you don't worry about that, because the trains are open air, so they just escape into the sky and create global warming. But when they're underground, they've got nowhere to go. So they just build up at the stations and start killing folks. Yeah, I had no problem with it. Exactly. Other people, however, decided that we should build ventilation shafts. Now there's mains power supply, so there's no electricity going into the church. And in fact, he is holding the main power cable in his hands. The main line supply on his left, and the plug for the church on the right. They're not connected in any way. And all the lights came on. Needless to say, they had to find a new contractor to finish that job, because he was not coming back. Buried their treasure, right? Except that in reality, only one pirate ever actually buried treasure. A rather famous pirate, some of you have probably heard of him, Captain William Kidd. Now, Captain Kidd would bury treasure in case he ever got caught. This worked for him a couple of times. If he gets caught, he says, oh, I buried treasure over here, here's a map to it, you let me go, you can have that treasure. This actually built up a reputation with him, so if people caught him, they'd just go and find the treasure. Unfortunately, this didn't work when he was captured off the coast of Massachusetts. We held him at the Court Street Jail back there for about a year before shipping him back to England, where he was tried for murder and piracy, hanged twice. The rope broke the first time. Drawn and quartered, divided into 4 pieces by having his limbs tied to different horses that were sent running in different directions. The body parts were then dipped in tar, and he was scattered to the 4 corners of the earth, which is a really impressive thing to do when the earth is round. But apparently Boston's a bit of a corner. And they say the right arm of Captain William Kidd is not only in Boston, it's in that very charnel house. Unfortunately, because this is all done in very secret kind of ways, there's no official documentation of where any of Kidd's body parts went. We know he's in Boston. We know that this is the graveyard the British government would have been most familiar with. So our best guess is it's right here. And this has actually led many people to say they have seen the ghost of William Kidd wandering through this graveyard looking for his missing right arm. And there's a couple problems with this. First off, every depiction that they have of William Kidd in this graveyard, every story has him with a lantern in his right hand. So if he's looking for his right arm, it's on the end of his shoulder. The second thing is, though, that their description of Captain Kidd is all incredibly wrong. Captain Kidd was an older gentleman. He was in his mid-40s. He was very athletic, very well-dressed Scotsman. Kept his hair all nice and groomed, all that. And the guy that they see wandering around the graveyard is some fat bald kid. I'm famous. And everyone who you saw crowding around that gate just added to that story.
Far from where we are now, a young man is walking down the street to his mother's apartment. He arrives at the front door and knocks, but gets no answer. He knocks louder, but all he hears is his mother's record player. Figuring she just can't hear over the music, he takes out his spare key and lets himself in. He calls out his mother's name. There's no answer. He begins to search the apartment. In the kitchen, he finds his mother's gloves and handbag laid out on the table as if she's waiting for it, but she's not there. He continues to search the apartment, the record player going the entire time, until he pushes open the bathroom door and finds his mother's body. She's been murdered. Posed nude on the floor with the belt of her blue housecoat tied tightly around her neck. Her name was Anna Slessers. She was the first victim of the Boston Strangler, the most infamous serial killer Boston has ever seen. The Strangle killed 13 women over 18 months, all of them found posed nude with a piece of their own clothing tied tightly around their necks. All of them found behind locked doors and windows with no sign of forced entry. Meaning the Strangler never broke into a single apartment. He was always let in voluntarily by his own victims. January the 4th, 1964. Two young women are coming home from work, walking up Charles Street here, when they arrive at that red door. Heading up the stairs just to the right of what was then and is now the Paramount Deli, they arrive at their third-story apartment, where their roommate, Mary Sullivan, is waiting for them. But Mary Sullivan is dead. Her body is found posed nude on the bed and propped up against the headboard. Her pink nylon stockings are tied tightly around her neck in a large bow. Her limbs are contorted at grotesque angles, her knees tucked under her chin, and a greeting card is left between the toes of her left foot, with the message Happy New Year written inside. A last message from her killer. Salvo was arrested for breaking and entering, and while in police custody confesses to the crimes of the Green Man. Known for his all-green workman's coveralls, the Green Man is wanted for 400 counts of breaking, entering, and assault across the tri-state area. He is sent to the Bridgewater State Hospital for the criminally insane to await trial. He's put in a cell with a psychopath named George Nassar. It is to Nassar that DeSalvo first confesses to the crimes of the Boston Strangler. Nassar calls upon his attorney, F. Lee Bailey. Bailey transcribes the confession and recognizes how detailed it is. DeSalvo is even able to describe the perfume his victims were wearing the night they were killed. At the Green Man trial, F. Lee Bailey steps up as DeSalvo's attorney and submits the Strangler confession into evidence in order to prove that his client is insane, a chronic confessor willing to admit to any crime in order to become famous. DeSalvo was found guilty of the Green Man crimes and sent to a high-security mental facility in Walpole, Massachusetts for the rest of his life. Although he is never found guilty of the Strangler murders, and to this day no one has been, he goes down in history as the infamous Boston Strangler. But 7 years later, DeSalvo recants the confession and claims he's made the entire thing up. Through an intermediary, he calls a press conference at the asylum the next morning, saying that at that conference he will announce the name of the real Boston Strangler, the one who had given him all the information from his confession. That very night, before the press conference, DeSalvo is stabbed 30 times in the chest, murdered in the middle of the night, and silenced forever. His killer is never found. Ever since, people have made attempts at solving the riddle, closing this case once and for all. New evidence and new information has been gained, but the case is nowhere near closed. The best attempt we made was a few years back in June of 2013, when cutting-edge forensic science was finally able to identify the man who killed Mary Sullivan. And that's when a real bombshell was dropped. That man was Albert DeSalvo, a man who at this point had been ruled out as a plausible contender for the title of Boston Strangler. Not simply because it was actually impossible for him to have been in all of those crime scenes. He was documented elsewhere at those times. But, to put it bluntly, DeSalvo didn't have it in him. He didn't have the stomach for such work. During the Green Man crimes, which DeSalvo did in fact do, several of his victims were able to identify him positively. He startled an older woman so badly, she had a heart attack and died in front of him. Something DeSalvo never got over, something he would speak of with regret, even while claiming to be the Boston Strangler. Clearly, death is not something DeSalvo appreciates. But he was hungry for fame. Desperate for it, in fact. He wanted to be known across the land. So it's entirely unlikely